A shocking and abrupt end to one of the longest high school softball winning streaks in recent memory. Also, we travel to Hightstown for some Falcon and Ram girls lacrosse. I'm Mark Fontes with sports. The 2000 Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl campaign was built largely on that team's brute defense. They didn't have to score a lot, mainly because they kept the opponents from scoring. Well, similarly, the Robbinsville Ravens can blow teams out with the bats, but there are those days when they win 2 and even 1-run ball games, knowing that star pitcher Lauren Fisher never needs a ton of run cushion to close the game out. But taking on their greatest rival, the Allentown Redbirds, for the second time in less than a week, it marked the end of a streak. A 2-run double by A-Town's Maddie Brunk in the bottom of the 5th inning put the Redbirds up for good as they win 3-2 Wednesday. That snaps the 37-game winning streak so proudly held for a season and a half by Robbinsville. Fish made her own case for player of the game had Robbinsville won. She supplied the Ravens' only offense on a 2-run homer in the top of the 5th. But in a rare turn of events, the Redbirds, who can hit her a little bit better than other teams do, they got what they needed. Allentown's Haley Peterson in the top of the 6th and 7th allowed only 1 Raven hit. The two teams are going into the Mercer County tournament as the top 2 seeds and are highly likely to clash once again come the MCT final. To lacrosse we go. The girls' squads at both of Hightstown's high schools were the only ones in action there Wednesday. Everything else was rained out sport-wise. At HHS, it was senior night, but we began at Petty, where the 9-3 Falcons were up against a beast they seemed unprepared for.
The Moorestown High Quakers, undefeated on the year, paid Petty a visit Wednesday, some of them hanging their heads. Why? Well, this was your halftime score, 13-2 Quakers. To the second half we go, rolling clock and all. Moorestown's Steph Toy on the attack delivers it to Haley Dalmas. Look at all that room. She scores. Dalmas recorded 3 goals and 2 assists on the day. Falcons trying to show some emotion despite the score. Well, Cody Mullen with it here comes from behind the net and deposits it in. Mullen, one of 4 different Petty ladies to crease the net. 15-3 with 19 to go. Think Petty can come back? Marie McCool for Moorestown makes herself look totally cool here. She scores after nearly having turned the ball over. Miss McCool scored twice. Tristan McGinley, 50 of the Quakers, getting some time late in the game as the starters got some rest. She scores. Petty's Becca Hetrick did not record a hat trick on this day, but did score once and made it look good. It did little, however, to affect the tempo of the game. These Moorestown Quakers making a very strong case for a state championship. They ended up scoring 20 goals. Their game right before this, they won 20-1. Well, they beat Petty 20-4. The Falcons, despite the loss, remain well in control of their own destiny at 9-4. Down the street at Hightstown High, Caroline Nobles, one of the Noble 9 seniors leaving Lady Ram lacrosse this year. Her parents, Melissa Ladd and her family, and the other 7 seniors, all honored before the Rams game against the Ewing High Blue Devils. Hightstown's ladies, by the way, are the number 4 seed in the MCT, and they will host Steinert this weekend. In this game against Ewing, they got off to a rocky start. Blue Devils in the blue. Marissa Santiago, 14, kept the goals coming all game long. She scores here to get Ewing on the board. The Rams struggled in the first half shooting sidearm and underhanded shots, but Nobles here, casting it overhead, does poke it in. Nobles led Hightstown with 3 goals in a balanced scoring attack. Ashley Kozik of the Rams, another senior hoping to finish strong, comes around and does try an underhanded thrust, and it's good. Hightstown took their first lead here, and that's when some showed off the kind of chest and back-painted school spirit that a polar bear would have been more likely to try on this night. Santiago, meanwhile, showed off her playing prowess. She ties things up, scored 6 times, Santiago did. Now watch this save. Between the legs for Whitney Walker of Ewing. Melissa Colavita shot that. She did end up scoring twice. Imani Turner, 17, with the ball on the other end for Ewing, comes around, jump shot, and she scores. Ewing went back on top following that. In fact, they would score 4 unanswered goals. Possible upset in the making? Colavita with it here for Hightstown season opening, but she loses her footing. That's wet grass for you. Moments later, Nikki Brooks set up for a shot, and she was on point. The shirtless boys and the rest of the fans rejoice over that. Turner of Ewing just before halftime, able to make one more impact here. The Blue Devils maintained the lead at the half, 6-4 the score. In the second, the Rams got things together. Melissa Ladd to Melissa Colavita. She shoots, and Colavita scores. Hightstown came back to tie this contest 3 separate times in the second half. The Blue Devils definitely gave the Rams a scare heading into the MCT's opening round, but Nobles and her Hightstown teammates got what they needed done in the game's waning moments. The final Wednesday, 10-9, a thriller for Hightstown. Just a reminder, these highlights of high school girls lacrosse brought to you by the Hamilton Township Education Association, members working to ensure your child's future success.
And finally, Team of the Day is brought to you by Pryor-NAMI Business Systems. Whether it's building servers, designing your website, or creating custom systems, Pryor-NAMI is changing the way small business does business. Why not Allentown softball? With many of their players taking on the Ravens in some softball capacity since 6th grade, Wednesday's game was their first ever win over their cross-county rivals. The victory improved the Redbirds to 14-2 on the year, and with only one senior on this year's team, Rider-bound shortstop Dana Sensi, the foreseeable future looks pretty bright for A-Town. Well, that's all for sports. Next on Close Up, meet the Princeton-based filmmaker whose latest work, even though it's an indie film, is headed to New York and then perhaps a theater near you. Stay tuned to hear about what he calls his controversial new work.